La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la.
Christmas spirit.
Oh,
it's here.
Christmas spirit.
Who is that we hear? Is that Donna?
Al Sharpton?
It's not Al Sharpton. Oh. Donna's back.
Hey.
Episode 48, guys.
Yep,
We're
Donna's
now
back.
48.
our 1 year anniversary. And we're finally doing it, Teddy.
Wait.
Yeah.
Our 1 year anniversary, Bobby?
Yeah, we started a year ago.
We started a year ago, you and me, not Donna?
Well, Donna wasn't here a year ago.
Oh my God, Bobby. Can you believe it? 1 whole year?
I can't, no.
That's
but we're still doing it. But
if we had a baby, that baby would be 1 year.
Did you get him a gift?
Yeah, what'd you give me?
yeah, I got you a gift.
You
we
got me?
so we got some pineapples and milk. We're all gonna try it for the first time here on the show.
Oh my fucking God.
We're gonna see what the fuss
Favorite
is.
treat.
We're gonna see what the fuss is over this snack.
It's a delicacy in the
Right?
JonBenet
And
universe.
you know what we're doing for the topic? We're finally looking into that famed Christmas party that took place 2 days before JonBenet's murder.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna try to get to the bottom.
It's finally time.
It's finally time. We're gonna try to get to the bottom of whether or not something that happened at that party eventually led to that sweet little girl's death.
JonBenet, she was fucking murdered at that party.
No, not at the party.
No.
Oh, no.
No, but there was a lot of questionable
maybe she
incidences,
was.
and we're gonna comb through the month of December for the Ramseys. So I'm excited. Donna's back. We got
Yay.
pineapples and cream.
Holy fucking
that?
shit. This is such a special celebration. Let's fucking do it.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
All right. Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan this morning. Yeah.
And this is
JonBenet today. Smells good.
All right. Well, we ran longer than we meant to, so this pineapples and cream's been sitting here for a little bit. But yeah, everybody, go ahead and dig in. Let's see what all the fuss is about.
I like that it's warm, Bobby.
Teddy, this is
just
your one
weird? Does it
excuse to
smell
actually,
like a
Teddy, at
pot?
least turn away. Please don't. No, stop.
Oh, don't
I will edit down your
slap.
slurps.
No slapping, please.
It actually does kind of gelatinize milk in there, where it's now a thick.
It thickens
It's-
to like a
it's-
sauce.
It is.
Yeah, it's
All right.
it's a
Have you
little
guys-
it's a
Like
little
a
bit like a
gravy.
thick like a white gravy like a sea.
Oh, no, please don't do that.
I'm not talking about animal semen.
All right,
None of this.
well,
I'm talking about
have you
human
guys-
semen, a load.
Gross.
What are we talking about, Bobby?
We'll have the recipe in the comments,
Can I
guys. but
eat this now?
all right, Leah, let's take a bite.
Oh wow!
You just don't even taste the milk.
Oh my God! I tasted the milk.
I don't. I
I
just feel like,
barely taste that.
That
I feel
is
like I'm just eating
amazing.
pineapples.
Be better
Bobby.
with ice cream.
Bobby, everybody, shut the fuck up.
I like
Like
that.
a scoop of
Shut
vanilla.
the fuck. Stop
What?
talking. Let your tongue seduce the milk out of the pineapple.
I'm just gonna try
try
straight
again.
milk. The milk just now tastes like pineapple juice.
It tastes like pineapple milk, Bobby. This is what they used to
Ooh,
drink. in
pineapple milk?
Rome. Yeah.
Who's in Sharks?
It's the best thing the Mormons ever invented.
That's good. I like pineapple milk. People be like, "Oh, hey, it makes your load taste better."
I hear
and-
so many people bitch about Hawaii's economy, but if they started just mixing milk and pineapple and exporting that, they wouldn't have no fucking complaints.
They just need to get creative.
But if I do it, I'm then what? It's colonialism just because of the fact that I ain't a Hawaiian. I could punch a Hawaiian.
I believe you.
Drink Hawaiian punch and punch a Hawaiian. I'm gonna do it.
That's not what that drink's about.
It's a
you're
sign.
If you guys are just joining us, and if you're not familiar with the JonBenet case, the pineapples and milk has been a big part of this whole case, where it was left out of the crime scene. It's got Burke's and his mother's fingerprints.
They called
in
it
the bowl,
pineapples and cream, Bobby.
right? But JonBenet also had pineapple in her system.
Yes, she did. This was the last thing she ate.
Yeah.
It slid down her tiny little deep red esophagus.
That's so weird. Okay, but
she did not choke on it, but it was the last thing in her tiny little tummy.
Right.
They found traces of pineapple, and pineapple's different than other fruits, right? Right. I mean, can we all agree pineapple's not an orange?
right,
It's not an apple.
The Ramseys would not
Right.
agree that it was pineapple found in her system. They would say that it was
Well,
unclear.
I've not specifically read the autopsy report, but it is my understanding that they are not definitive about whether the substance in her digestive system was pineapple or not. All I'm saying is that I did not feed her pineapple when we returned home from the White's house. She was sound asleep. She was put in her bed and tucked in good night.
something that's yellow and
But
pulpy.
it's very
and
clear from the
fibrous.
crime scene. Yeah, exactly.
What other
But-
fruit do you have?
So you might be asking yourself, is pineapples and cream like, oh, a bougie snack? Is that something like, you know?
It is.
It is. Well, possibly. But is it also possibly from the prime of Miss Jean Brody, which, as we've explored in
The
Patsy
play.
Ramsey's episodes,
That was the
Is,
only thing she knew how to read. She did that as a Miss America contest. She did a scene
recite it.
from the Primus of
with
Miss Jean
3 different
Brody.
characters.
Yeah, she played them all like she was Angelina Jolie's in Girls Interrupted, and she said she was just a girl stunted. And what found out was that it wasn't good enough to win because that's a stupid idea. But in the content of the play, which became a movie that Dame Maggie Smith, rest in peace, she actually was nominated for an Oscar for it. I think she won, and then she played that lady's part. And Patsy was probably inspired, and also has a false sense of her own superiority by trying to triumph people with her wit.
And to speak on her not winning, though, it could also just be attributed to the fact that, again, she found out sort of last minute that due to copyright reasons, Patsy ran into copyright reasons for the Miss America pageant, that she wouldn't be able to do the exact scene from Prime of Miss Jean Brody that she's always done, which, again, is about a woman who's being confronted about a letter.
Oh, a letter, that's right.
Details her misdeeds.
It's a literary collaboration. 2 separate hands are involved. One of the authors slants her tail consonants in an unorthodox manner, and the other does not. Also, the paper seems somewhat aged.
She looks at the letter, Miss Jean Brody, and says, oh, this is a literary collaboration. Somebody intentionally miswrote this letter to disguise their handwriting.
My God.
So many themes.
What a coincidence.
What on a Judeo-Christian sort of level of a God orchestrating things where certain symbols and plot points and tangible objects become prevalent themes and different touchstones of the arc of a person's human life story, but also something of a sacred tragedy that is Patsy Ramsey's life. And they talk about pineapples and cream in that play.
Which is probably, again, you got this, West Virginia girl. Where she's,
She's just some white fucking hillbilly hick.
She's seeing this woman who her whole job in this story is to take these young girls and turn them into ladies, but not necessarily ladies that play by the rules kind of thing. Ladies that skirt it, but they're able to get by. And
This is a man's world.
how to be elegant, which you'll see from her mother in these pictures with Judith Phillips, that they very much like to be
Be like a Betty Crocker.
more beyond that,
Right.
the mom,
Almost like a first lady of somebody.
Exactly,
Where
the
it's
Georgia-
like I am the example, and I outwit men even just with maybe my purest femininity, feminine wiles or whatever the fuck. But at the same time, also I've got my senses about me, so that anything I say, anything I do, anything I even propagate as the truth is tilted in the direction towards my favor. And she did that even maybe by adopting the concept of having pineapples and cream.
I can see it just being somebody who thinks it's an interesting personality trait for them, like vaping or something, where they're like, oh, you're sick? Let me make you some pineapples and cream. And somebody's like, I've never heard about that. Every time I say that,
oh
that's
my
how people react. And it's like, oh, and they think you're so upscale. Like, I've never heard of this girl who does milk and pineapples. And now that, again, I'm actually tasting it, I don't really taste the milk. It's just pineapples. There's nothing really fancy about this. It looks like it's starting to curdle.
Pineapple.
I mean, pineapples that come from remote tropical places. Oh, back during the French Marie Antoinette times, that you could only, if you had a pineapple as a place setting on a table and maybe as a dessert, that meant you were really, really wealthy.
That's insane. I would originally think it's a weapon. If I was just caveman
yeah.
dude,
You just look
the
at
first
it,
thing I
yeah.
see, I'd be like, oh, let's get this on the end of a stick.
Totally, yeah, absolutely.
It's got little cactus things. Let me beat you with it.
I know it hurts. It hurts. You can't sit on pineapples like you can cucumbers.
Right.
But you can't do donkey shows
So
in the state of
review
Rhode Island.
out of 10. You can't do what?
Donkey shows in the state of Rhode Island. Like I tried in Providence. I was at the pony show of Providence, the Providence Ponies show.
Yeah, I understand now.
Where it's like if you fit, you just spend an hour, maybe 50 minutes even, partnering with a pony in front of people in different ways.
Partnering.
You make a lot of money.
So pineapples and cream out of 10. How many stars do you get it? Is it worth killing your sister over? I'm just kidding. People
I
believe
give
that.
it a 6.
Actually, you know what? As we were talking about this too, that's actually way more insane that people I know that's what the conclusion of the CBS doc was, which is like Steve Thomas. That's where I think they went too far by trying to find the reason, like the bedwetting, or she stole Burke's pineapple and he wanted to run. There was so much pineapple in that bowl. there's no reason. That
She didn't eat none of it.
Yeah,
We're gonna fight over fruit.
Yeah, there's no reason he's
come
gonna
on.
chase after her for that, and it's so weird for people to focus on that.
Yeah, actually, I know what you're saying now. Like, oh, how you be so mad that she took one bite of one pineapple?
Why is that the thing you're gonna do? Like,
But it's not like there was only 2 pieces of pineapple. You bitch, you took half of my pineapple. No, it was an
so
entire
much
bowl
left over. Yeah,
and
Ridiculous.
that's something. Yeah, that honestly.
if anything, just use it as a tool to know that hey, she was up, Burke was up. And like that's the thing.
At some point, we don't even know how much pineapple was in the story.
Well, I mean, there's still a lot left over where somebody didn't clearly finish it.
Right. But she, like, honestly, like there could have been twice as much previously. Who fucking knows? But the point is that we don't know. So we found one bite in her fucking system, but doesn't mean she took the first bite.
Right.
Doesn't mean she took the best bite.
Right.
I mean, or whatever, or that he didn't take multiple bites, or I don't know. I mean, it's something where there are like blinders on these people of thinking even further of just like, I don't know, sometimes they conclude things too fast. Now, if I had to give you my opinion, because you didn't ask me.
Right. Well, I mean, again, this isn't really supposed to be an episode focused on. We're going to
Bobby,
be
I'm
talking
talking
about
the pineapples and
I know.
cream.
I'm just letting everybody know real quick. We're going to be talking about the Christmas party. This is not focused on the pineapple at all. We're just eating it live.
We're
so
just
keep
eating
going.
together.
Bobby
going.
gave us the pineapple.
Yeah,
and
keep
now-
going. Keep going.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I mean, I really like it.
No. How about your theory with it?
Well, I wanted to first grade the pineapple.
You're right. My
Bobby.
bad. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I honestly really, really like it. It's a little curdled now, so that's kind of disturbing. I think it looks disgusting. I don't really respect people for eating it, but I like the flavor of it. I give it a B.
Cool.
A B minus.
I think the citrus curdles it a little bit because I know that's how you
Yes.
make buttermilk when you can just put lemon juice and milk. And then you wait like
The
15
acid,
minutes.
the citric acid.
So, I mean, I think that just makes it a weird concept for people to have that treat.
No, I mean, honestly, it sounds good if I wanted to like make something to marinate chicken in.
Oh my God.
You make your own little
Bobby, you
buttermilk
make chicken?
citrus out of the pineapple milk. Ooh, we got something cooking here.
Donna, I think
yeah,
that means Bobby's inviting us to have some chicken with him.
We'll try it out. Well, yeah, next level. It took us a year to finally try this treat. Not that great. Donna, did you give you a grade?
Yeah, I gave it a 6.
A 6
'Cause
out of
you
10?
said, yeah. But are we doing letters?
We're doing letters.
No, he is. 'cause
Okay,
he does
okay,
stuff
okay.
different. But you
Okay.
don't have to change it.
Okay, great.
6,
yeah.
I understand.
I gave it a 6.
Everybody should try it.
No.
Try it once.
I think it'd be better.
It's
with
like lesbian sex.
If your Burke did it,
cheese or
if your
something.
if your Burke did it and you think he did it over this, I would say definitely try it because that's insane.
Right. No, a kid's not going to fight over fruit.
Not
Come
over fruit.
on.
Not over fruit.
That's
and you gotta
ridiculous.
trust. You gotta like question who out of all the snacks they could have goes for the effort to make themselves some pineapples and cream, and then would get mad about someone else.
The
eating
prince
some of
don't lie.
it. I mean, the prince don't lie, but I mean, and in terms of his temperament, Bobby, like for someone to go, this is what I have an appetite for. There's a reason why many of us, evolutionary speaking, protecting ourselves, steer away from this concoction. I mean, I think you probably get parasites from this kind
We don't
of thing.
steer away from it. I just don't think you know about it. Like Patsy, who is always trying to be her own individual, introduces in your life, especially your impressionable son's life. I think they start seeing that as a thing. Especially again, we're found next to a glass of tea.
Yeah,
where
I
it's
mean,
made in like
yeah.
almost the tall glass because Burke liked iced tea. So it'd be a thing of maybe he was making his own tea. But what kid does that unless you're
a product of Patsy Ramsey, and it's Christmas Day where you want the affection and the warmth of the mother that you believed you had when you were younger, and she didn't provide it, so you can't even sleep, and you go ahead and make this for yourself as a way to almost give yourself a spiritual hug. And then your sister interrupts it, and you clobber her to death with your big monkey
Ruin the
paws.
moment.
we're not
Threw the
a part of
vibe
that.
off.
Bobby.
We don't think it's about the pineapple. If anything, if we're
Right.
going to be around the
No.
Burke, that's not where I would go at all. That it's
Ridiculous.
Again, I use that as the thing that people should use as a timestamp to be like, something's fishy about people being up. What was there? What she ate? They said they put her right to bed, but there's pineapple in her system.
That's right. It's
But-
a Pineapple Express.
Yeah, that was the pineapple and milk segment of it. I guess continue to keep
Yeah, I
eating
mean,
it.
you can probably fast forward through that in future listens to this episode.
Yeah, there'll be chapters on it.
Oh, anywho, thank you for
So-
the pineapple, Bobby.
Donna, welcome back.
Oh, thank
People
you.
have missed you. We've had numerous comments.
Aw, I miss you guys too.
Dumb people addicted to opioids,
what,
and
Teddy? Like,
people with
I-
generational curses miss
I'm
you.
not gonna take your shit anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh wow, listen to her. She's not
So
gonna
wait, what's
clean my
this-
shit.
What's this with you being a wicked?
No. I work at the movie theater.
Oh, okay, you dipshit. He's been saying you've been at the movie
What
theater
the fuck are you talking about? Yeah,
day.
she's been at the movie theater watching Wiki.
No, I hate
She
musical.
works there.
No, I just work at the theater.
You ain't not getting 99 there watching
the
Wiki.
movie theater, not the theater.
Bobby, Wiki came out, and at the same time, Donna kept going to the movie theater every day.
Yeah, it sounds like
Because
she
I
got a
work
job
there.
again. Again, she's had multiple jobs to support you and your
Right.
lifestyle.
You
This
work
is
at
job
Maury?
number
What the
4.
fuck?
Wait, hold on. He said you haven't been coming home though.
Well, maybe.
Well, she's been working at the movie theater, Bobby.
Well, that's
She's a busy
Well,
lady.
yeah,
Can you respect that?
No, I met somebody that works there.
Donna's got a boyfriend.
No, he's not my boy. He's my drug dealer and friend.
Oh,
Like,
it's a regular
you know-
notebook story there.
She's
That's
a,
good.
yeah, she's a regular Kate
beautiful. I
Beckinsale.
know. Thank you.
He's my drug dealer. He's my friend, and he has some kind of skin disorder, and he also smells like fish sticks underneath a retard machine.
No.
Okay,
Go
those
fuck
last two
yourself.
were you.
Whatever.
Come on.
You know how she gets. She gets obsessive about stupid people, spirits. Like
I haven't
one
seen
thing.
her in a relationship in a long time. What are you talking about?
And
This
he's
is great for her.
He makes me feel beautiful.
Oh yeah? Do you still cry calling your dad's name when he touches you, like you do when I
No.
jump behind you?
Actually, no.
Oh well, good for you.
Donna, I love this for you.
Thank
That's great.
you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Dude,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's been lonely. He's been talking about how you don't go home, and he was saying it was because you watch Wicked, but this makes way more
I
sense.
ain't no. I ain't no.
Teddy,
No, I
Teddy,
ain't.
how you been doing?
I'm not lonely. I've actually been really busy, actually, and I haven't been home no either. So it's not even been a
wow.
problem.
I wouldn't know.
I have been over at the PF Chang's, the former PF Chang's
Yeah, that's right.
at the West Smith Wall,
That's right,
a
'cause
mall.
you guys live
Well, the
in-
mall, Bobby, not wall. And I've been the new, one of the new Santas. I'm an alternate. I'm not the main one.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised you passed the background check. So how's that been going?
They were not
You're the
that
Santa
okay.
at the PF Chang's?
Yeah, it was a converted PF Chang's. They've got like different strobe lights, and they've got little like tinier people.
Yeah, Teddy's been training. He's
Oh,
been
is it like a
he's
little
been
North
putting
Pole
potatoes on
makeover?
his. Teddy, tell about the. Did you pass the potato
Yes,
test?
I did. After this, when I retried it,
Well, tell
I
her what
did
it is.
pass it.
What's the potato?
And the potato test is like so. You don't know what an erection from a man is like, but the male body is not connected to the male mind, and Santas have a lot of pressure applied to the groin.
Oh no.
But it happens to be children, which would be a thing where you don't want to have no
No,
erection
you
with a
don't.
child. Even a not sexually attracted to a child.
No, you
So
don't
for
want
decades now, ever since that incident in the Clevelands, they have been putting bags and sacks of potatoes, mostly russet, sometimes Idaho, about 5 to 7 pounds. Over 10 is deadly. It's dangerous.
The type of potato matters.
It does, Donna, you stupid bitch. It's about the distribution of the weight in the sack.
All right. This
And
is
you put it
crazy.
over your groin where your penis lives. And if your penis get high, then you no prayer.
Oh my god. So you're like
You
weighing
can't be
your
a
dick
Santa.
down.
You can't be a Santa if you get hard.
See,
Oh
she
my
don't know how you have no
God.
dick. She's
Do you put that on your resume?
that I can
oh my
be
God.
Santa
I think it's
and
just
not
a way
get
to
hard.
do it.
Absolutely.
What's that?
I mean, I can pretty much pick whichever I fucking mall I want to work at as Santa after this year because I ain't got no erections with any weight of any.
Yeah, but you're
potatoes.
part time at the PF Chang's. You're the alternate. What are you, the understudy for Santa at PF
Yeah, I mean,
Have you had any kids yet?
I had a few of them. Yeah.
How'd that go?
There was one time where the Santa he wasn't able to get no work because of a CO2 sort of a leak in his house.
Carbon monoxide.
Come on in. Yeah. And I was there for I happened to be there, and I was there, and I had the clothes. I had shoes that I took from the house. Anyway, the point being is that I helped so many little tiny emaciated kind of grungy Dickensian sort of children set the expectations straight for Christmas, because these are poor children, Donna.
Oh, no.
These are people, they're not going to get presents. And I said to them, hey, listen, let me level with you.
But how do you know they're poor children?
Because they smell poor. They look
smell
poor. They got kind of the same vibe I
I'm
get
sorry.
from you.
Wait, this is your first day. You saw they were poor kids, and you decided to set their expectations right.
Yes. In service. I mean, Bobby, someone's got to do it.
How?
What am I supposed to say?
How?
They're talking about, oh, hey, I want to have a Tesla, whatever the fuck, or I want to have an S-Boss, be busy. I want my dad to, look me in the eye. What the fuck? I don't know. And I'm like, listen, kid, you're not going to get shit.
Oh my god.
You're
Well,
gonna
I
get-
guess you being the bad guy really helps the parents out.
Yeah, it
Santa.
sounds like you
Cute.
both are doing incredible. Donna's got a new drug dealer boyfriend. Teddy's the understudy for Santa at
Not
PF
getting no
Chang's.
boners while I'm Santa if you're
Yeah,
hiring.
Big accomplishment.
It's a good Christmas. And I mean, we're making some money at some point, I guess.
Yeah, I have 4 jobs.
She's disgusting.
Jesus Christ. Merry Christmas,
You're just
everybody.
jealous.
She smells like wet,
Like
rotted
squash?
gourd.
I'm
Like
sure-
a zucchini? Like, that smells clean and fresh. So
you smell like the
whatever.
first Thanksgiving after the massacre. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
Like she smells like the 28 years later trailer.
Yeah, just digging.
Wait, what do you mean
No,
massacre?
no.
I thought they just like slowly got polio.
I mean, a lot of them dead. Some got
just
polio,
got
some
hit.
got pushioed, some got Cheerioed.
Okay, well, it's Christmas time. We're not talking about that.
Honestly, this is a really disappointing Christmas episode. We haven't
All
talked.
right.
We haven't talked about real no Santa. We haven't talked about no presents for me.
No.
Well, we're going to talk about Santa.
Right.
That's coming up. So, hey, let's get in real quick first to JonBenet news.
News.
Yeah.
JonBenet knows.
JonBenet news.
What news we got, Bobby?
Well, again, we haven't really addressed this much since Donna hasn't been here since the documentary.
Yeah, been busy.
Yeah.
And what did you
Yeah.
think of the Netflix documentary?
So the first episode, I was like, oh, wow, they're gunning for him. And I got excited because I was like, oh, maybe they're going to kind of try and blame the Ramseys because, you know, they kind of seem guilty of
It's
something.
reasonable for a stupid person like
Donna
you.
texted us. We should say this.
I did.
She
Yeah,
texted
I
us,
did.
and she was the first person to start watching it before me and Teddy did our live
She
recording.
texted me. She didn't text me.
Oh, well, before we did our live recording, which you can find on Patreon, of me and Teddy watching it,
Yeah.
Donna was the first person technically to start watching it, and she sent us a text that said, I don't know if this is really pro Ramsey, guys.
Right.
Oh wow.
Right.
You instilled a hope in us that was
But
so false.
I mean,
Donna has dull media
I was
literacy
faked
skills.
out
Shocker.
too. I was faked out too, you know. But I think the reason why they did that was to get the ugly stuff out of the way first and early.
Did they?
And then they
Okay.
spent the whole other 2 episodes just talking about all the other bullshit that we've already heard. You know, no one's new, nothing new at all.
You know, you bring up a really stupid point, but a cogent point for a stupid person. Wait, that first episode did cast the broadest of the nets in the sense of playing into maybe just trying to reel in different people with different sort of beliefs or different understandings or no understandings or an open world of different theories, possibilities.
No, it didn't.
But by the end of it, it tried to make it sound like, oh, there was DNA from some other stranger.
I want the timestamp of when she initially sent us that message because I would love to figure out the moment where
Bobby.
she possibly even considered. Because it's very early on.
She's slow-minded. She started it early, but it took her longer to watch.
But
She
again,
watches it at half speed like I do porn.
Early on in episode 1, we saw the thing with Linda Arndt where they portrayed the whole interview with Linda Arndt as, oh, this is when it all started in the
That
media.
went in the first episode. That
Yes, it was.
She was in later in the episode, wasn't she, Bobby?
It was in the first episode.
But not in the beginning.
Yeah, it was because it was when they were painting the timeline, I thought.
No, they didn't introduce her for a while.
First they did a whole thing of being like, here's family videos.
Right.
Here's us not even remotely considering an accident scenario.
This family
here's
is so
us
loves
putting in
each
your
other.
head, who's gonna wake up and kill your daughter? And it's like, okay, we're not even gonna address an accident.
But when they went into the crime and the chronology of that day and that morning, they made a mention of maybe 1 or 2 agents or officers or detectives or whatever the fuck. But they didn't say Linda Arndt by name until they didn't ever even mention her by name or show her until they were trying to create a timeline where that like she might have been
The
part of the
response.
police going out into the public
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
relations later on. I think that was in episode 2.
No, it wasn't.
Was it in episode 1? Because
was
episode
in
2
episode
started
1.
with the Jerry Springer or the one guy.
I promise you it was in episode 1 for sure.
The point being is that Donna was still so almost tempted to change her mind, moving away from the Ramseys doing it to that maybe there was some kind of compelling argument for otherwise, because she does not know how to deftly watch any sort of thing and interpret the biases
All right,
of the
Teddy,
filmmaker.
that was beautiful.
Yeah, you're
Really
you know,
Well, she eventually did catch on that it wasn't, and it's
Right.
cool that she addressed that.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
obviously.
true. So what
I
else
mean,
did you think
but
about
I
the
had
thing?
like the natural fake out. I think that was like, I don't know, like
I don't even think that. I think I like that you, because that's what I'm saying. I'd love to figure out where you saw it, because it seems like anybody else coming out of it, the Netflix University people, as it's been coined, people.
it was like shortly into the second episode. I was like, oh, because they started
Oh.
talking about the same stuff.
Wait. Shortly into the second
she's so
episode, you suspected the Ramseys that they were pro.
No.
Halfway through the second episode is when she lost faith in the direction the documentary was
Gotcha.
going.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Yes, thank you, Teddy.
You're
Wasn't the
welcome.
end of
I
the
understand
first-
you. That's why I know how stupid you are.
Wasn't
Just
the end of
accept
the
it.
first episode them being like, "Oh, the detectives were hiding DNA that showed the Ramseys"? were.
The end of the first episode was that there was
love that that's when you're
DNA
like-
from some identified person, and that also they tried to insinuate that all the Ramseys were clean.
And I love that that's when Donna's like, "Oh,
They still-
maybe
yeah.
this isn't."
I know, and it was disappointing.
She's got a slow fucking word per minute reading
right,
average.
Teddy.
So
That's
listen,
enough.
I mean, you're slow, but I
what
love
they
you, but
did
you're
do-
slow, and you don't appreciate me
But
the way
what
you
they
deserve
did
to.
do-
Anyway, the point being is that
Wait, no, let her finish.
They showed the stupid things that the Ramseys did early on, and that's what made me excited, because I was like, oh, okay, they're talking about like how like it might be her handwriting for the letter.
No, they didn't.
they didn't talk
barely
about that,
talked
Donna.
about it.
You're making that up.
They said that the
making it up.
investigators, they basically said that the investigators thought that it looked like Patsy's, and then their really only mention of it is saying that like 4 out of 5 professionals
They didn't even say 4 out of
agreed.
5. They said the professionals. They tried to paint over that shit.
I believe they did say the 4 out of 5 because it is theirs, but it was basically or something along those lines. But basically, they said that they all agreed Patsy didn't write it, and then that's the last they touch of it because they don't ever bring up the fact in all that old series that Steve Thomas's theory hinged on the fact that he thought Patsy wrote the note. So all of the clips they play of Steve Thomas, they don't mention the note thing, and it's just played in that like, oh, he's just doing the bedwetting theory.
He's got some sort of rational vendetta against Patsy because he can't comprehend.
They make him
motherhood
look
and kids
ridiculous.
being-
Which I don't think Steve Thomas is ridiculous. Like,
I don't think he's. I think he was. I think again he was just too narrow-minded, just like the CBS.
Donna,
documentary.
can I take an editorial pause? Donna is just making shit up. She don't remember nothing.
What? That's why we're getting her view and talking about
All right,
it.
what'd you think of the 3rd episode, Donna,
Wait,
when they
no.
focus on John Mark?
We don't have to go episode by episode.
wanna know. There's only
she
3
said
episodes
It was the same
long.
old
John
bullshit.
Where's my
he can
question
really
unreasonable?
rock those pleated pants. I mean,
God, that's what you have to fucking say.
I watched the. Did you watch the HBO one that popped up?
no, I haven't.
So that's an older one, a JonBenet
I
one.
thought it was.
I finally watched it, and
What's
so,
the HBO one say about me?
well, first it was. I sent you guys a picture of John Mark Carr where he's all silver-haired.
Oh yeah.
And he looked absolutely ridiculous.
He looked like
and
Alan
in this
Cumming when he was
interview,
coming.
he reveals that he's like castrated himself
What?
to remove this whole.
When did he
urge.
castrate him though?
I don't know, a few years ago.
Oh god.
Recently?
I think
Within
it
the
was-
last
I think it was
decade?
years and years ago. Probably after this whole
He
John.
cut it off.
While Barack Obama was president?
Oh.
I don't know if it was cut it off, but you know.
How do you castrate yourself? Do you cut your dick off like a eunuch? Or do you like burn
Is it the
acid on it?
balls or like what? Like I don't know.
I bet the dick
I don't think it's the balls.
cooks like a
Because he's
hot
still
dog.
pretending to like be a journalist and that he's not running his own Laces Sir website. So he's got a little bit of balls.
Maybe he cages it with something that looks like a plastic
or-
heart like shaped cage, and he pees through it.
Or he's just lying, and that never caught on. In that it's like, oh, don't worry about me as a pedophile anymore, because my stuff's gone. It's like, oh, John McCarr wouldn't
I
do that
learned my
'cause he's-
lesson, my Da Vinci Code lesson, my Paul Bettany lesson.
My
I cut my
role
dick
as a
off.
patsy is not helping me attract a lot of kids anymore, where I keep getting paid to be like, hey, I'm the JonBenet
Right.
killer.
Or I want you to think that I loved kids enough that I accidentally killed JonBenet, but not enough that I'm still doing it.
People on
Right.
TikTok are eating it up. There's so many people convinced
that it's him.
it's him.
No.
Our old Bill
Oh,
McReynolds,
that's so sad.
our old Santa video and
Yeah.
John McCarr videos on TikTok are
Blowing up.
blowing up.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's a
God.
phenomenon.
It's ridiculous.
And it's sad but that's also part of the mission, everybody, is that we also have to be the light to the moths and the fruit flies of dumb people to eventually initiate their journey of them eventually figuring it out. It may take their entire lives, it may take decades, but someone's got to start it.
Well, the Ramseys want you to believe that it's John Mark. They want you to believe
it's somebody
that
else.
it was him.
They want you to have the doubt that it's not them.
right, but they want anybody but
They
them.
couldn't just keep saying that there's some sort of killer out there, some sort of, pedophile out there. They wanted someone that they could put a name to, so people weren't saying JonBenet Ramsey and Patsy Ramsey and
Perfect-
John Ramsey. They wanted to
perfect
say
segue.
John Mark.
Perfect segue. Because guess what, guys? Now, the more recent one in the news that's coming out is that there's the whole hitman theory
Hey, man.
that there was a disgruntled ex-Access Graphics employee who was hired to kill John Ramsey's daughter. And the hitman's ex-wife has letters or whatever, something stupid. This is actually something we've already covered. This was the Daryl Kirkwood adjacent to the One Solved Mystery channel stuff, where Daryl Kirkwood was this guy from Indiana who was basically, he was in prison at the time. They ended up finding out. They've already
So
investigated.
they
this.
eliminated him.
They eliminated him, where basically he was just like, hey, he was trying to get money forwarded to him to go be like, hey, I want to come out and visit you guys in person. Send me money. Remember that stuff.
Like he was almost trying to get out of his confines, if I'm treated like a suspect.
or just keep the money, like a scam kind of thing. Because it took the, authorities getting involved to track down I think it was even the FBI, where they tracked down where he was. And then it was like, oh, no, this guy was in jail
It's
at the
not
time.
legitimate.
he was in jail when JonBenet died.
And then the One Solved Mystery channel, where he earlier was a commenter on our channel and has his own. He's very convinced that the police got the wrong Daryl Kirkwood.
That's right.
And they got this other criminal, he's noted, that it was supposed to be this guy who was he had check fraud from like 2008.
Yeah, he was being touted as like some kind of criminal, whatever, but it's like, just check fraud. We don't even like to announce where he lives because
no, but if
like
you're going to blame a
doxing
crime
him.
on somebody, you're going to find someone who already has done a crime, because if they hadn't, then they would be
That's
given
the
a lesser
worst-
punishment.
That's
you
the
know?
worst crime.
She
I'm not
has
going to
nothing.
be
Why
like,
are people missing this stupid fucking?
no, that's good.
crow?
That's good to have a representation of that on Mike, because it's a thing of like, no, why would somebody correlate check fraud in 2008 with being like, oh, did you kill JonBenet? You're clearly a criminal. Who would think to forge a check? Like,
Right.
If you do that, you'll do anything.
Exactly.
You'll rape and kill a little girl, and that's a whole part of that whole slippery slope
The
mentality
90s.
of those people, where it's like that's why they even tried to cover up if John went to any sort of porno mag store or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Because if there's one little slip out of whatever is being generated by the PR polished image of fucking Beethoven 2 on a fucking front page newspaper in Illinois, then it's like everything's called into question. Where it's like at this point we know enough about what people are doing and not doing, and what's pretty common and what isn't, and also what fucking matters and what does.
well, it did back then though. You got to think about in the context of the time period.
Exactly.
Porn shop back then did kind of matter.
It did matter. That's
And
exactly.
honestly, I don't really care either way with.
We don't care as part of this generation in this time period,
But
because
back
also we grew
then-
up with fucking internet porn and all kinds of things, and everybody doesn't give a really fuck.
Yeah, I guess back then, but I would
Back
be as
then
a
they
kid.
did.
I can only put myself in that mindset because I remember hearing about the Pee Wee Herman stuff and really not understanding what was the thing, but just knowing like, oh, he's like a pervert, like a predator type thing. And it was
Right.
like
As a
just
kid, you probably think that he just whipped out his dick in a movie theater, but that was a movie theater that existed for years for people to whip their dicks out.
But nobody explained that to me as a child.
Because that was part of a political,
Not political, it's
concerted
just
effort, a societal
Family
effort.
dynamic too. Of not
Who
political.
defines family?
What are
The
you
fucking
talking about?
Mormons?
A political effort to not tell your kid that he was jerking off in a porn theater? I think it's just hard for a parent to approach that with him.
It was especially then.
Anywho, also there was this 2020 special,
Yeah, I
and
saw
capitalizing on the whole Netflix documentary re-interest in this case.
Oh yeah, but that was on Hulu.
It was on the Hulu. Yeah,
Was
did you
that
watch
guy?
it?
Yeah.
It sucked.
It's
it was-
just the same shit.
It was. They used a lot of footage from the List 2020 episode from
my God.
2019, where they went through the suspects.
Bobby, the list is like 5 years old.
It was 5 years old. And they
That's the
used-
one that had that thing.
They had the podcast.
Yeah.
They said, and guess what? They even bring it up where they say that Lou Smith's granddaughters are still pursuing the truth.
Oh my
Then they
God.
show the footage of them doing the podcast, which, by the way, we've already debunked.
Yeah.
They did 3 episodes just for the show.
3 episodes. The Kickstarter with a fuck raised $60,000.
It's like 20 minutes. No, that's the
God,
other.
that's so cool.
That's the actual daughter. Is the case?
oh yeah.
But yeah, they try to paint it like his granddaughters were so invested they wanted to do a podcast, but it was really just for this 2020
that's
special.
Be like,
fucking
oh, the
ridiculous.
grandkids are doing it too. Like,
Exactly.
look at that.
I mean, they're
like, they're
intentionally be-
still trying to solve it. Like,
They're using the
wow.
exact same footage and shit and sending the same narrative that they did 5 years ago.
Right, and it's just because JonBenet
Packaging it
came
as
in
if
the
it was
news
new.
recently, like, and it's just because the Netflix thing.
But
So
they're
now
also-
everyone else is releasing all the bullshit clips that they had.
But like it's
But they're
new.
trying to perceive it as like as they're a news authority or some shit, where it's like they're telling us like, and then the Lou Smith's granddaughters are trying to do this, blah blah blah, rather than saying from X year to X year, Lou Smith's granddaughters even did stuff. Instead, they're trying to almost promote something. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I
Make
mean,
it seem
they're
like it's
trying
an
to take
active
advantage-
effort again. It's just
Again.
the same push where it's like,
And
oh,
it's like that's pushing the fucking
Well, and they're
carrying
counting
the
on
water for
people
the
being
Ramsey.
stupid and not asking questions. That's what they're counting on.
and that's why we're here.
Right?
Yeah, I'm so glad you watched it, and that's
I
ridiculous.
didn't finish it. I had to turn it off because it was.
Yeah, no, it wasn't worth finishing.
JonBenet's been in the nose. I wish I was in the nose like JonBenet, but I just
Jar
got
also went on a podcast recently too.
He went on fucking.
He went on a podcast too. I didn't finish it yet, but from what I mostly watched, it was a thing of him waiting for them to get like a document up, but they're not even like talking to him.
All right, so there's that. All right. Let's see, I'm gonna pull that. Okay. Let's bring John on. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate it. I was really excited. I reached out to you via our Twitters, and you got back to me right away. And we're really grateful you're here. We think it'll make for a really interesting conversation. So I think Allie wanted to read the document that came out in 2008 from the, and babe, I'll scroll through it for you. Okay. So,
I have it up either way.
Oh, do you have it? Put it up.
Oh, share it. Okay.
Yeah. Blow it up if you can.
So this is July 9th, 2008. And it is from Mary T. Lacey, who was the district attorney at that time.
It's like a very awkward atmosphere. And he's got like these Clark Kent glasses on, and it's just a very awkward atmosphere. But that's what's been going on in the news recently. I feel like, are you guys ready to get into our main story tonight?
Oh my God, we haven't even touched the main story yet.
December 1996 and the Christmas party.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into it.
I have miles and miles ahead of me, tales to listen to, time to spend. Up ahead, the road is bending. Wonder what's around the bend.
Hello, I'm Charles Kuralt. We're off again to meet a few people on the back roads of America. These are people you know, not from the front pages. They've never been on the front pages. They're people you know from next door and down the block. Their stories are some of my favorites from 25 years on the road.
That is Charles Kuralt's series.
Charles Kuralt.
On the road.
He looks like a man who knows how to motorboat a set of titties on like a seasoned broad.
Like a pro. Yeah.
At a Radisson.
You know.
Like
So,
he's an
cigar.
aficionado.
Hey, okay,
yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
So there's a reason. There's something
Well,
connected to JonBenet about it.
Yeah, there's very much a JonBenet related reason.
Okay, I'm just confirming, Bobby.
Well, but I also do like the clips of the show. So actually, let me show you one more clip, and then I'll explain why we're showing it.
Okay.
Conway, South Carolina accumulates potholes, even as your town and mine. A lot of little tiny potholes, a fair number of medium-sized potholes, and a few tank traps. If you put diving boards on some of Conway's potholes, they could be swimming holes.
Sweet.
Oh, how about that?
Medium tone. Jesus Christ. That's a lot of potholes.
That's the kind of reporting that Charles Kuralt would report on.
I mean, they'll fuck up a car. Like, little.
Charles Kuralt Butler.
He had a little CBS show called
CBS
show
Okay.
called On the Road.
On the road.
And eventually he would choose one of the topics for his show as Bill McReynolds.
Bill McReynolds, the inventor of McDonald's.
No, Bill McReynolds, the Santa Claus in the JonBenet story that we've been covering for a year.
Okay, all right. So I remember now. I remember now, Bobby. It took me a minute.
You remember now. And that would be the catalyst that would start the whole Christmas party for the Ramseys.
At the Ramsey house.
At the Ramsey
To make
house.
for a Christmas party for an episode of a show that's following Bill McReynolds that is from On the Road with Gerald Gerard. What's his name?
Charles Kuralt. Charles Kuralt.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I was distracted by his jowls.
Yeah, you have a table.
So the point being is that they were going to be on TV.
Possibly. Let's get to first. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the month of December 1996. 23 days before the party. Let's go to December 1st.
Yeah,
and look at
5 years
the calendar for the
9/11.
Ramseys.
I'm sorry about me.
Sorry
I didn't
for
mean to
what?
interrupt. Because I also
No,
want to
you
make
were
sure that
supposed
people know that it was also about 5 years before 9/11, in case you forgot.
Yeah.
But that's also a nice
Yeah.
callback to our first episode.
Never forget. 9/11 and JonBenet.
People appreciate callbacks.
They
We're-
do.
We're the only show that
Show
talks
your
about little
respect.
girls being killed in terrorist attacks in New York City.
Yeah, with no actual clear connection.
Yet. As you were saying.
So, as I was saying, we're going to take a look at the calendar. We know that at the very end of November, Patsy's 40th birthday party was held.
Over the hill.
Patsy wasn't actually going to turn 40 until December 29th.
Oh, she's a
which
Capricorn.
They scheduled is she? I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
Petty's into astrology.
Sorry. I
So-
know things that I know.
at the end of November, we know that they held her birthday party. We do know also, as we've talked about before, that Nidra had some sort of special skit that kind of made fun of Patsy's Miss America loss.
That's right.
That's right.
She planned it for her birthday party as like a skit to humiliate
Make fun
her,
of
really.
Yeah, it's
You're
like I
roasting
think
your daughter.
you're still
She's
not
too
there.
young.
Yeah. like 40 years old. Like, don't be too, I don't know, confident in yourself or believe that, you have self-esteem. Like, let me knock it down a peg by actually putting effort in a skit. A skit involves multiple people. It's not a monologue. It's not the Bay or Bombay. You know what I mean?
I know what you
Hamlets.
mean.
It's a show. It's
I know
not
what you
about
mean.
pigs, Donna. But the point being is that there are multiple people, and it's like, who does she hire? What is that skit? How does that go about?
Was it just her, or was
like,
someone
yeah,
else in
how
it?
did the actual skit play out? I believe it was like a sisters and like,
Even worse.
Yeah.
Terrible. Because
Pam.
Pam was also better at her at that.
was she?
She was, I think,
Do we actually know that she was better than that?
as good as they can be for being poor white trash from West Virginias. But the point being is that that's how they started the end of November. And then we went into December, the fateful month that daughter died.
So we do move into December now. These are all the actual notated facts that we have of what went down this month. Okay,
Bobby, you made this?
yeah, I notated on
It's
it.
comprehensive.
It is comprehensive. Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
smart.
So here we are in December of 1996. Unknown for most of the first week, except for we know that first week of December, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, the Ramseys were planning to leave out of town with their friends, the Steins, to New York.
Going to New York City.
And they just went the previous month before, like on a girls' trip.
Oh, that's right.
JonBenet got to see Greece. They went to like FAO Schwartz.
Yeah, that's
Got
right.
Wrapped.
She had some kind of like, your Princess Precious little sort of fucking Eloise at the plaza sort of, a dream come true sort of whirlwind experience. Maybe they took that photo where Ghislaine Maxwell was there.
No, in the November trip, yes.
Yeah. I mean, if we were to support that theory, they had like 1 degree of separation with having the same lawyers.
That's insane.
What if while they were in New York, she was
Yeah.
in the background of some sort of thing that they also went through. But on the 6th, 7th, and 8th, which was those Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays,
first week,
they was
yes.
going to go back with the
to New York
Steins.
with the Steins, who we should note, as we've recently pointed out, John has downplayed their relationship in police interviews. where
Right,
They're
right.
asking like who you consider close friends, and it takes a while before they finally end up bringing up the Steins. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't consider them close friends." And it's like,
But
at
you're
this
gonna
point,
travel with them?
at this point in the interview, he had already been living at their house too.
He lived with the Steins for
They lived with
months.
them. But yes, they had also
God.
traveled with them the month before. We know that during this weekend, that the JonBenet and Burke were supposedly in the care of Nidra and Don Paul.
Oh, over in Boulder, Colorado, they went out there in New York City.
No, they didn't go. This was just the parents' trip. The Steins and the Ramseys. Wow. That Friday, supposedly, Patsy and Susan got on the Today Show. They were in the crowd. Patsy wrote in her 1986 Christmas newsletter that, like, me and a friend visited New York earlier this month, and we were told that we were even seen.
She
on
got to be
camera.
near Al Roker and smell him and know where he, his charisma. He's got big dick energy. Al Roker.
Does he?
He does.
Oh,
I mean, he's got real big. When people lose hair on their head, it means because like there's so much blood that's going down to their groin.
He seems like somebody
He's a
that's.
short guy.
Is
He's
he?
not very tall.
He just seems like he's really bad at small talk.
I think his dick is girthy.
He'd ask you the weirdest question
Like,
to
you
like
could
make
only-
conversation where you're like, oh, I can see you're trying, but like weird.
You can only talk about
When you got a
weapons,
horse cock like Al
nothing
Roker,
else.
all you're thinking about is banging, anything that has a pussy. And so he's probably conflicted. He's probably not present. He's
Al
probably,
Roker's just always trying to fuck. That's why they put him out in the crowd.
yeah.
I think they learned their lesson with Matt Lauer, and they're not going to try to do that.
sex sells, Bobby, in entertainment.
So
I should
the
take my shirt off.
Ramseys leave for this weekend. It's important to note that actually when they left was also the same day as JonBenet being in the Boulder Parade, where she was getting to be on a float, and they weren't going to be witnessing that because they were out of town.
Oh.
And this is where we've talked about before on the Blue Crab Theory episode, where Burke, who was not in the parade, was in the care of Nathan, who was the Steins live-in babysitter.
He was a student over at the school
He was a 21-year-old Colorado University student who was charged with taking care of Doug Stein, the
Doug
kid.
Stein.
Doug Stein, the kid.
Burke's friend.
And he would drive the Ramseys to school. It's somebody who the police, we found out, didn't even know about until 2001.
Wow.
It's not talked about in the case. But this Nathan kid was watching Burke for the parade. So for the whole weekend, basically, that Don and Nidra watch Burke and them until the Ramseys come back.
Yeah.
I've seen detail now that Nidra definitely left at some point after this weekend because she said she only came back for this weekend because she doesn't like Boulder. She like literally reaffirms, she's like, I don't like Boulder.
Exactly.
I'm only going to come back just to help watch the kids. Don's left over to his devices.
Okay.
And there seems to be a weird thing, by the way, where this is like Nidra doesn't want to be at Don's apartment. They always are, like whenever she's there, like even when she came for Patsy's treatments, she wasn't staying at Don's apartment. She would stay with Patsy.
At the Ramsey house.
And that's the thing. People have always talked about how the fact of like when the Ramseys, instead of staying with the Steins, why didn't they just stay in Don's apartment?
Oh, yeah.
What if it was a thing with Nidra where she's like, I'm not going to visit if we're going to go back to the place where my husband probably has been
something
fooling around, kind of whatever.
And we only mentioned that just because we know that one, like, you know, there's weird things that happen with Don Paul and he's never been interviewed, but also that like
they were separated.
They were separated. They didn't live together all the time. And, you know, JonBenet, no matter where she went, she always needed help, like wiping herself after potty things. And what if like someone that she trusted was not being trustworthy with that?
Exactly.
And what if it was that guy?
So Nidra only came back for the Ramseys' little vacation with the Steins. Again, a relationship they downplay.
Right.
We then get to Tuesday, December 10th. This is the last time the landscaper has been at the home. And he details this whole account where he talked to JonBenet and then she got into this blue SUV and she was kind of like ordering people around inside, like, no, you sit here. And then she drove off. This is the guy that's talked up how like,
JonBenet drove off?
No, JonBenet got in the car.
Who drove off? Oh, I'm sorry. Who drove off?
I don't know. But JonBenet got in the car.
Oh, and that car drove off.
Yes, but this is also the guy who talks about how he barely ever sees John, and that she's talked about how she, you know, wishes John was around more often. That's what she shared with him. That's the last time he's ever at the home. He would eventually become a
Poignant
suspect.
conversations with the landscaper.
That Friday, the second Friday of December, here's something it's not very much talked about.
Friday the 13th.
The Ramseys have something called a foyer dinner party. Foyer Christmas dinner party at their home with 60 plus people.
Oh my God.
On December the 13th.
Foyer, the entrance of their home, where the stairs located.
So from what I've gathered now from reading, this is a church thing where there's like a dinner group where different people take turns making dinners. But because this was like an end of the year thing, they got up to, 60 some people.
Wow.
Coming in to their home. It's weird because any mention of the children in this account, both from John and Patsy's interviews, when they're like, were the kids there? They both have the account of, I'm sure they were. I don't remember directly seeing them, but they were probably there. Neither one of them can recount anything of it. They do say that it's a party where the adults were bringing alcohol and that was it. And they were providing the food. And Patsy ended up finding out I didn't have enough food, so she had to order in. But neither one of them can recount the kids' whereabouts during this church.
That's fucking suspicious.
And this party's never talked about. It's a very like
what the fuck? Like,
not even in there trying to like add suspicion. They'll bring up the fact that they did the Boulder Historic Home Tour a year before, but not also this church group party,
which happened on Friday the 13th.
The cops asked Patsy, does she have like a guest list for this? And she says, I don't, but this Carolyn something would probably have it. And then I don't see any follow up in regarding that, but it's still,
which is
weird. We're the kids. Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because they don't have the definitive descriptions of the kids when they're always all about like, presenting a certain image and they put so much detail into.
Was there a certain weird person in charge of them that night that they don't want to cast
they don't
suspicion
city
on?
suspicion
Was on the guest list.
Yeah.
They could have been like wandered around your house, finding all the places that they can sneak in.
Which it fits in the theory that they're trying to propagate of there being someone who, it was an intruder in their home, and this is a setting where an intruder would work, but for some weird reason, they don't want the intruder theory to incorporate this event that had nearly 60 fucking people.
Nail on the head.
And that makes it ultra suspicious.
Yeah. Why would not look into these things? Because it's like what I think possibly it might speak to their lack of actual parenting. Where it could be like, we actually don't know what the hell they were doing for.
They were too busy drinking. Patsy has a continuous vat of fucking house wine. She's drinking all the fucking time. They're always looking for an excuse to social.
Possibly.
And
John
drink.
said they're not big drinkers, but we know from their housekeeper,
Linda Hoffman Poe.
Thank you so much. We know from her account that Patsy was probably reaching for that wine for this Christmas party that's coming up. So that was the 13th, Friday the 13th. Oh wow, we just had one of those too.
We did just have a Friday 13th. Well, how biblically
December. Wow.
proportionate.
Interesting. So we go to the 17th of December. This is the next Tuesday. JonBenet had a Little Miss Christmas pageant, Colorado Christmas pageant, that she ultimately ended up winning.
She did.
She did. But this is also the same day that we know that Dr. Beef was called 3 different times. And nobody was able to reach him, and Patsy doesn't seem to recall ever doing that.
Or why they did it.
What was going on there?
Right. Like, why do you, like, that's urgent, right? Like, if you call 3 times.
Why would you call your child's pediatrician 3 times and then not know why you did it?
Right. Well, you know why you did it. But
Well,
whatever.
that's the thing. We're
They're acting
investigating
like
from
they
their
don't
perspective. Duh. God, she
I
doesn't
wonder if
add
this
nothing
is the
to
one
this fucking
before,
program.
like, her bruise, possibly. That one we keep seeing that weird bruise on. Or maybe, again, to your pill mill theory. Maybe it's a thing where she knew she was going to be seeing moms at that pageant.
Oh yeah.
I need to get these pills
That's where they
to the
That's
liver.
where they transfer.
This is
it.
why she's
Cut on.
networking. This is her whole thing.
Is
now.
it even a real pageant or is it a pageant she made up? Because they do that.
I'm not sure if this is one of the ones they sponsor. This is one JonBenet won too. So
What if they made
she
orchestrated
surely
pageants to be a front for them having some sort of like underground sort of pill fucking trafficking thing? But at the same time.
So we're 2.5 weeks in. JonBenet's already done a parade and a pageant now. Okay. The Ramseys already have hosted a Christmas party with 60 plus people in their foyer, which I'm sure it wasn't just a foyer. Then we move 2 days later after Dr. Beef is called. On Thursday the 19th, John Andrew Ramsey flies out to Atlanta.
Jaw leaves Colorado.
The exams for Colorado University are done. This is the official time, supposedly, that he has left.
To go spend Christmas holiday week with his mom.
Probably with his mom, yeah. John, we've noticed, has said that, like, oh, my kids had work in Atlanta. That's why they were whatever. Jar was not working. It was just Melinda. But he uses it as a blanket excuse for both of them. But Jar was just, having dinner with his mom, playing video games, supposedly seeing a movie. Whatever. We're going to move on then to the next day, Friday the 20th. This is the week after the Christmas foyer party. This is where John has the Access Graphics $1 billion luncheon for his employees at the hotel.
Yeah.
Where they pop champagne.
Get the photo taken for the newspaper, announce their accomplishment.
JonBenet also has a performance at High Peaks Elementary School where she's going to do, this is where she does like rocking around the...
Oh, that's where she did that iconic performance.
The Christmas tree. And we know she's got on Sunday the 22nd coming up the Southwest Plaza Mall pageant, where she's going to be competing in that. And then they got Christmas Eve coming up on Tuesday, and then Christmas on Wednesday. But that Friday, after all this stuff with John's $1 billion thing, JonBenet's pageant, they get a call from Bill Nick Reynolds.
I was the Santa Claus for 3 years at their party, and I always liked the Ramsey party. So I called Patsy in particular and said, it's time for our party.
Bill called Patsy, time for a party.
They weren't planning a party this year because they were going to be going out of town. Clearly a packed schedule from what we can see.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But Bill McReynolds, who is actually, I guess, friends with Charles Kuralt, was going to be profiled for this whole like Santa in America story.
Okay.
As an episode of that show On the Road.
On the road, like we were talking about, yeah. And it was going to be a thing, yeah. So they got a crew together to follow Bill McReynolds for this week, okay? It was just going to be the weekend, supposedly, according to one internet poster. This has not been substantiated regarding their actual schedule.
All right.
Their theory is that Bill knew that they were only supposed to be scheduled for the 21st and the 22nd to film with him. And that Bill knew it would be impossible for them to do a Christmas party on Monday the 23rd.
Oh.
But he still called Patsy and said, hey, I got this guy wanting to do this documentary. You always have a great party. According to one internet poster. But other than that, we know the actual facts of it are these guys supposedly got enough footage, decided to end it early, and then Bill shows up and it's like, oh no, we don't have...
So Patsy said yes to Bill McReynolds, even though Bill McReynolds thought that she would say no.
On the 20th, which is again, 1, 2, 3 days before the party.
Yeah. And she said yes. And then the camera people were like, well, we're done. And Bill McReynolds still showed up to the party, and Patsy still did the party and threw an impromptu Christmas party, thinking that there would be cameras and she would be on TV. And then it ended up where there was none.
Exactly.
He knew who to call.
Yeah, and he knew that she puts on the best one.
Exactly. She has a reputation preceding her. She knows how to get things done. She is Patsy Ramsey, and there's no one like her. Mm-hmm. You know.
But again, at this point, the crew is no longer coming. So it's like, I would love to find out when Bill McReynolds told her. Was it just when he showed up and she had called all these families over?
Right. Bill McReynolds, when did you know? And you know, like what do you know? And when did you know it? You know what I mean?
Again, how much stress did this cause? Because we know like they had a packed schedule.
Oh yeah.
We're not anticipating their yearly Christmas party.
Oh
yeah.
God, just throwing it together last minute.
And even later, John would say in his police interviews that he doubted for a brief moment whether or not the whole Charles Kuralt thing was real.
Oh really?
Because that's the thing. This weird Santa, we've seen him, you know, it's time for our party.
Yeah.
Kind of Santa where it's like, did he just want to...
He heard some, like, you know, it's like a game of telephone where he's getting what Patsy's saying, and Patsy's like getting what Bill McReynolds is choosing to say, but that's different probably than what the producer of the show is saying, and that's different than probably what, you know, even Charles Gambino.
Who was not going to be there, by the way. The crew supposedly never met even Charles Kuralt.
Also, it was going to just be some beef footage, but like maybe John was asking certain questions and from Patsy, and he doesn't know if they're actually going to come or not.
Well, no. He didn't doubt it before. Oh. He doubted it after Santa showed up without the crew, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
But
well, yeah.
Patsy knew for the last minute that she was going to try to put together a party for a bunch of children and invite a bunch of the neighborhood kids. Well, most of them.
The Ramseys had people in their home for the last time, just 2 days before the murder. It was a children's party.
Well, she and one of her little friends were hanging up the coats and that kind of thing. She did that night, I remember that.
And I had gotten gingerbread houses, and each family was going to decorate a gingerbread house that night. So I had all of these gumdrops, and I'd bought a gallon of frosting, and they were just having a ball. It was just a really fun evening.
A gallon of frosting.
So she spent too much money on too much stuff, and it doesn't look like that many actual kids were.
A gingerbread house competition is visually arresting on old.
There's all the
cameras.
children.
Wow, look at all that half dozen of white children.
I don't know that all of them are considered children. The ones on the left look kind of old.
Half those kids got scoliosis.
Again, also, JonBenet getting coats. Is it a thing where there's a moment where she considers, oh, this girl's kind of dressed like me? Because we have reports from before the party that Patsy and JonBenet were arguing supposedly about JonBenet's makeup.
Oh, really?
In regards to Patsy said, no, you're not wearing that. You need to take that off.
She wanted to look like she was older, like maybe an older girl.
Something like that, yeah.
And this girl was an older girl.
And this girl was an older girl, also wearing a black and white dress, too.
That's confusing. Like, she can only wear makeup certain times.
Exactly. Like, this is where she feels most empowered on these pageants that she's been winning all month.
Put yourself in JonBenet's shoes. You spend all your time sitting in front of mirrors, getting makeup put on you, putting makeup on you, knowing what other people, how they wear their makeup. And here's a time where it's like, I want to be confident. I want to be myself. I want to,
Patsy says too much because she knows a documentary crew is going to be there, which means Patsy knows how it looks outside of the pageant circuit.
Exactly. She knows it would look bad on TV. This little girl all dolled up like she's on fucking Taxi Cab Convention. And so there's just that. It wasn't even out of like wanting to keep JonBenet innocent or age appropriate. It was out of her not wanting to look bad because Bill McReynolds is here with his goddamn fucking
camera crew.
Right.
Yeah, and I bought a gallon of frosting for a fucking gingerbread contest that
no one participated.
Nobody likes gingerbread.
So, by the way, this party started at 5 p.m. We're gonna run real quick through the guest list of people that were supposed to be there.
Lay it on me.
And then some people that ended up showing up as surprise. We know we got the Ramsey family. Don Pa was there, not Nidra. Because Nidra, again, people need to understand, she lives mostly in Atlanta. They seem to have a whole situation where they were like separated.
Like estranged.
I mean, Nidra seems like a fucking, horrific fucking bitch. I wouldn't be surprised if she wants to be by herself.
It's true. I agree with you. The Whites were there. Their daughter Daphne was there and their son Fleet.
Oh.
The Browns were there, which is Priscilla's parents.
The Whites and the Browns?
Mm-hmm. Priscilla's sister was there, as well as her boyfriend and one of their friends who were visiting from California.
Oh, wow.
These are like the California guests that some IDI people get suspicious of.
Well, they're from California, of course.
Right. Also from California, we have Bill Cox, who was the husband of Priscilla's niece, Heather. He attended alone without his wife. He was visiting the whites from California. Wow. We also have John and Barbara Fernie.
John and Barbara
Fernie and their son and daughter. And those are probably two of the kids listed in that picture. They were the people who the Ramseys ended up staying, the night with after JonBenet's murder.
Oh my God, it's the Fernie's house.
And they also called them over.
Not to be confused with Boy Meets World, Mr. Feeney's.
We also have somebody listed as the friend of the Fernies. He was a male about 9. Glenn and Susan Stein. They just took a trip with him in New York.
Yeah.
And their son, Doug, who was friends with Burke.
But not the live-in babysitter man who was 21.
It's not listed, no. But we know that Susan Stein's mother was there, as well as Glenn Stein's mother. So
oh my God.
A lot of people would be like, hey, look at these people we're hobnobbing with. Be proud of us. It's really sad. We have Larry and Pinky Barber and their 2 daughters, Joe and Betty Barnhill, and the Barnhills border. The Barnhills were the neighbors that lived right across the street from the Ramseys, where John was storing the present of the bike for JonBenet, as well as their dog. So they kept them over there. Partway through this party, this guy comes over and he says hey, the dog's barking. Apparently they had a boarder living in the basement that they didn't know about. And eventually he's just invited in to stay into the party. His name's Glenn Meyer.
Glenn Meyer, got to say.
He's like an intruder data person where they like him as well. We also have Linda Hoffman Pugh, who we know is their housekeeper, and her daughter, Ariana, who is 12.
She's the older girl that JonBenet may have been wanting to almost try to...
Possibly. Or the Fernie's daughter. Her Fernie's daughter were also 14 or 15.
Okay.
Where's that kid picture at? We'll bring that back up. There we go.
Yeah. When you're a little kid like JonBenet...
that's 12. That's 12 for me.
Those other kids look so old.
That's Pugh's daughter.
Okay.
For sure. Now looking at this. So we had an interesting guest list, okay? We also know now at this party, and maybe this is because of the makeup thing, but we have the account from Janet McReynolds, which was Bill McReynolds' wife.
Yeah, that's right.
The Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That JonBenet recounted to her one time when she was sitting on the stairs, looking all sad, that she didn't feel pretty.
At this party, she said that. The poor little...
She doesn't feel pretty without makeup on, I guess.
Makeup on and maybe
That's
like an
sad.
older girl who might be getting more male attention than her.
Oh my God. In this sick, perverse world, the fact that they judge their self-esteem by these measures that are dictated by a fucking rapist patriarchy.
Possibly. Don't get so emotional.
I'm sorry.
And then we get to the most controversial part of the party.
Oh, what's that?
The 911 call. Or the accidental 911 call.
5 years before 9/11, there's a 911 call.
Yeah, without any slashes. Wow. It's not 9/11, it's 911.
It's not a laughing matter, Donna. There's no slashes.
9/11 and it's still the same.
You dial 911 in a phone, you get 911.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Well, for anyone that's not familiar with this case, and if you are, we're still going to remind you. Supposedly, there was a accidental misdial of 911 at this Christmas party.
How do you accidentally supposedly dial 911 dial?
It's always been attributed to Fleet White as being the one to do it. People have said that we have this account only from Susan Stein and the Ramseys saying that Fleet White was supposedly ordering medication for his mother, was trying to dial out, accidentally hit the wrong button. Problems with that theory. One, there's been a really great recent Reddit post where somebody found the exact model of the Ramseys' phone.
Really?
And they found that there was no, you didn't have to dial 9. It was a different number. It was like 4 or something, whatever. But you didn't have to do that. And it also kind of explained how if there was the extended enhanced audio in the 911 call, how this was a type of phone that if you hung it up, you would think possibly you hung it up, but you actually just put it on speakerphone. And you wouldn't be able to hear the 911 lady going, Miss Ramsey.
You hang up the handheld and then the speaker still continues. And then you may realize later on,
it was
let me
a
push a
special
button
business phone put in the basement and the one upstairs.
Oh my God. That is fascinating. And so not only that, but then also,
so you didn't have to
dial 9 to leave the house.
That wasn't the accidental thing there, and there was also no emergency dial button, as people have suggested, or something like
So
that.
you don't just accidentally call 911.
Right.
Like,
So most people know that there was that call, and then it's explained that Fleet was supposedly trying to order medicine for his mother. But what most people don't know, and we've talked about this before, is that the police show up, but nobody actually greets the police at the door.
Oh.
Supposedly, Susan Stein takes this opportunity to greet the police through the intercom. No one actually answers the door. I'm assuming let them know that there's a party going on, and maybe she'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
We know that the police officer was there for 15 minutes. This is around an hour and 15 minutes into the party.
Okay.
We know the police officer was there for around 15 minutes and then eventually left the party. But he didn't actually enter.
He never went in the house.
So I'm assuming Susan went and figured out something, what was going on. But the thing is like the accident dial happened, okay? There was a hang up. The police called back. Nobody answered. It was like an immediate like hang up.
Which didn't prompt them to want to go back, because a lot of people hang up on 911 even if they're in a dangerous situation because they can't talk anymore. It's like a domestic violence or something. They got to hang up because they walked back in the room or something.
Right.
And so the policy is for 911 for someone to go check out because they can trace where the call came from. And you mean to tell me the policeman never came in the house?
They never got to come in the house.
And Susan Stein talked to him and they left after 15 minutes?
They left after 15
How'd she
minutes.
talk to him, Bobby?
Through the intercom.
They had an intercom in their
She
house?
didn't even come to the door. She spoke to him through the intercom.
Wow. Which didn't have no video like Ring cameras do now. It was just the voice and the dulcet tones of Susan Stein assuring them that nothing was wrong, even though for some reason someone called 911 and it wasn't a mistake.
And we've done the the Whites episode, and we know how tight-lipped they are, where they're very much, it seems like, preserving some sort of evidence. But they've never officially copped to that was the reason for the 911 call that night.
They never talked about it.
They never talked about it. So there's the issue of, did something happen? Did he initially witness something? Because we know now that Fleet White, he jumps the gun with calling 911. Just a few months prior to that, his daughter had went missing. He thought she had ran away. He calls 911 immediately. Turns out she's just hiding under her bed. Okay. We have something maybe that happened at this Christmas party where he calls 911 right away and, you know,
right. He gets
somebody talks him out of whatever the hell was going on.
That wasn't that, Fleet. You didn't see right. And then they're able to talk to the cops.
And then when they found the body, JonBenet's body, when he was with John.
Oh my God, that's right.
Fleet's initial response was wanting to call 911, even though there was a detective in the house. It's just his natural instinct where it's almost like he jumps the gun to call 911. And did something happen there where he was talked out of, you know.
What could have happened?
What
a
could
mystery.
one of the kids have called 911 just like joking around like during the party?
Why not blame it on that then, though?
I don't know.
I could almost believe easily, just like, oh, these kids, they peer pressure and, you know, that one guy, he's a rotten apple. And then someone dials 911 and hangs up. I've seen it happen.
Right.
I've seen kids dial 911 all the time. Oftentimes because I'm...
Yeah, but then why wouldn't that be the explanation for it?
Exactly. So for them to pin it on Fleet White from two different sources, Patsy and Susan Stein.
Right.
And it also feeds into a narrative where he overreacts.
And in their notes of that, they say that like he took a notepad off to go write stuff so he could order medication for his mother. So is this more trying to cast him as a suspect? Or like what's the purpose? Because like you actually bring up a good point when you say this, where it's like why the easiest dismissal of a weird situation would be to
blame the
kid.
Yeah.
So what if you just incorporate a situation where that Fleet White's already doing something where he's asked to use the phone for his mother or something?
It almost makes it seem that it's to cast Fleet White as an unreliable narrator in an instance where he might contradict.
Right.
Because this is the same Fleet White who also wanted to have words with Don Paw in Atlanta after JonBenet's funeral, and the word spread through the grapevine in the Ramsey family was make sure you're armed, and they were like hiding guns underneath the couch.
Right.
So it's like, and Don Paul, he left the day after this Christmas party.
That's what I was getting to, is that there was the whole instance where it's like, did something happen with Don Paul at this Christmas party?
Which I could see happening, Bobby.
Because again, that's the suspicious timing of Don Paul leaving town, which we found that again, Don Paul and Nidra, very separate.
Very, very
So yeah, it was a thing of where, was there some sort of argument between Fleet White and Don Paul at this party? Was there something that he discovered where people had to quell him like, hey, you didn't see what you thought you saw, let's just talk this out kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because again, Don Paul then catches a standby flight on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
To go back to Nidra just to spend time with her when it's well known at the company of Access Graphics that Don Pa would never leave for situations like this.
But Fleet White called 911. Something must have happened.
There's some sort of tension somewhere.
And I bet the entire party was full of tension because it started out as being even just existing for a very superficial purpose, such as being featured in a documentary.
Right.
And so like, we had gingerbread parties and we're all old and wrinkly and white and, we sing fucking Pentecostal hymns or what the fuck, I don't know.
I can't believe I stayed in town for this.
And hey, I'm going to be on CBS, blah, blah, blah. Like, we have our Christmas party. There's just so many reasons why Patsy ended up saying yes, even despite all the pressures. And she still did it to an extent that was mitigating on the factor that it was going to be televised. And it was going to be the propulsive sort of element of like her projecting a certain image.
And did that break her?
Did it break her? I mean, like, she does all that work in the middle of all this other shit, and then she opens the door and Santa Claus is there by himself, and then they still have to do the party.
Right, because the kids are there. Christmas is about the kids.
Well,
you can't be like, this isn't the real
here.
Santa.
Yeah.
Everybody's here, but also everybody's here because they thought they were going to be on camera, and they were rallying the troops, and there's a part of like almost an ego bruise where they still have to fucking keep appearances and do the goddamn thing, but for why? Not for the original reasons why they wanted to do it. And so they're probably drinking a little harder. They're probably making self-deprecating jokes. They're probably looking a little sideways. And then when Fleet White just sees something that is also out of order, or for whatever reason, people don't just dial 911 willy-nilly. And with the phone system that they had in that house, they didn't have to dial 9 to leave the local line where they could probably do an intercom system within their big old fucking house. They had dialed a different number. So for him to dial 911, it's not an accident, and there was a reason. But we also know that he tends to dial 911 rather as almost like a gut reaction, which doesn't necessarily mean that what he saw was not valid, but it was also something where they could probably talk him out of believing what he thought he saw. And then Susan Stein, who we know was kind of like the bulldog that would visit the different message boards on the early internet and defend the Ramseys, but also reach out to Jameson and kind of work almost. And then while they were living in her house for a while too, like in the nascent stages of the investigation, she would also kind of be their interference between like what the public was saying and them, but also working on their behalf. She kind of proved her worth by being able to manage a police officer visit without that police officer coming into the house.
Maybe the Ramseys didn't even know.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't.
On the whole like the Fleet White thing, I feel like very much plays into what we see of Fleet White today, where we see somebody who seems very sure of what happened that night. There was a thing where, again, he was during the funeral wanting to go confront the Ramseys at their parents' home. And we even have the count of Priscilla White trying to take Patsy aside when she went to their parents' home, where she goes, Patsy, if you just give me 20 minutes of your time, I think I know what's going on here. And Patsy just snaps at her and goes, Priscilla, I'm this girl's mother. If something was going on,
oh my God,
I would know. And then the detective's like, don't you wonder what she was going to say? And she's like, yeah, I wonder. But like, it's very much dismissed.
Right.
White knew something. And to me, again, the last time they really saw him, like at least with Don, was at that Christmas party. And then the next time Don knows he's going to see Fleet. Because it seems like the Whites were intentionally separated from the Ramseys going to Georgia. Where there's a whole issue of maybe Fleet wasn't invited on the right plane. But when they get there, he's stuck with John's like fucking accountant or some shit. And then they realize like, oh, there's all these waiters and stuff. I don't like this. I need to find John and Patsy. They don't even know where to find them. They're purposely kept separate. Exactly. Like we need to. And again, Fleet was the first person called in the day after the murder to John's lawyer's office. Where there was like, hey, we need to talk to you.
It was Fleet White who was with John when John found JonBenet's body. It was Fleet White's house where Burke was, where he was interviewed without the parents' permission, but gave details that conflict with what is propagated tonight.
Right.
And it was Fleet White who also called 911 at this Christmas party that was hastily put together for the purpose of entertainment, but then, and to be recorded, but then those camera people never came. And without any sort of record of this party, we have seen the persistent fact that there was a call to 911. Whether it was an accident or not is what depends on who your source is. But there's enough reason to believe that Fleet called 911 for a real reason, but also he could have been peer pressured or silenced or convinced in a way where to not believe what he saw. And when I think of it, and when I think of there being potentially a conflict between him and Papa Paul, I think it could relate to Papa Paul potentially wiping JonBenet after she used the bathroom. And maybe even, you walk in a house that has a million fucking rooms, there's a million bathrooms, there's a million open doors. You could, if you saw, I hate to think about it.
Right, drunk Papa Paul.
Drunk Papa Paul, his fingers going a little too deep. So who knows what the fuck?
Right.
Some kind of weird thing that I don't like to think about. And it's in some 90s independent movie where Fleet said, wait, his body told him, stop, run to a phone, call 911. And he did. He did something. He didn't do that because he didn't win the top gingerbread thing. He did it because he experienced something there. And at the same time, this person who we know is one of the best interference, political or public relations sort of people for Patsy. What's her name? It's Linda Stein. No, who's Stein lady?
Susan Stein.
Susan Stein. Susan Stein.
The Bulldog, yeah.
Susan, to know that Susan Stein also proved her worth. Her
created the situation, backed it up.
Yeah, was there to kind of just help. Like, I know what happened, but also I'm here to help see you win because I'm going to win with you. Like, there's plenty of people where they're like, it doesn't matter if whether they know or not, some sort of fucking lie or ulterior motive or whatever. Sometimes they align their best interest with it succeeding, and they will do the dirty work. And I'm like, there's not many Christmas parties, especially ones that were originally going to be televised, but instead ended up having a 911 call dispatch ever exist.
Even their confrontation in Georgia is downplayed too.
It is.
And it could be a thing of, again, where whatever happened at that Christmas party, definitely they knew would inform Fleet's opinion of what ultimately happened to JonBenet, whether it was related or not.
Yeah.
Which could be why Fleet hasn't ever publicly said something, because it's like, oh, you could be sued if you're going to try to relate this or something or that. But
or with the grand jury, maybe there were certain things that because it was shared there, he can't talk about it.
Exactly. There's something there. And again, we know Fleet's only real tip to the police was, hey, the Ramseys own a pair of high-tech shoes.
Yeah.
So maybe it was something along the lines with Burke or along those. But we know it seems like where he stands, or he has a very strong opinion. And there's a reason he hasn't shared it. And it'd be great to know why.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still, I think, almost like a little part of my sense of Fleet where they wanted the truth to be out there, but also they knew what they were up against. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. They called all the stuff with the grand jury in the letter to Bolda before, where they basically said they're doing this grand jury thing as a whole, guys. They waited till this certain statute was passed that would make it so this stuff would be hidden.
Yeah.
They knew they wanted Alex Hunter off, and then they also sued to have the grand jury records released.
Yeah.
After the fact. So
that takes so much effort and energy and money.
They know that people want the truth.
Yeah. And they just keep getting, stopped, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, what I'll be really interested to see, Bobby, is that even in the mini series that they make for the Paramount Pluses, I'm wondering, will they feature this Christmas party?
You gotta.
You say you gotta, but I think that's just because we understand that there's something to it.
There is, and I think I hope they focus on the fact that Don Paul leaves town right after. And people really need to realize how weird it is for him to do that, because he normally stayed in Boulder. And the fact that he leaves, and there's nobody that actually sees him leave is the other part of it. The only time it's ever really brought up is with John in a police interview, and they ask, like, how would he take it? And, like, how did he get there? John basically says he doesn't know, probably took a car. Nobody actually saw him leave, but we know that he left right after the Christmas party. And again, this is out of character for him.
Well, and it's also Patsy's dad, so for them to even almost make it sound like we don't always keep tabs with this guy. This guy works for your company. This guy lives in your city because he works for this company. And also this is Patsy's father. And it's also on the days leading up to Christmas Eve. For them to even, this is just coming to me, to try to diminish of we don't know how he got there, blah, 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 blah. Again, that fucking shit sounds suspicious.
Nidra even called out though too, where she says it's a good thing he got back early, because otherwise
he would
right. A suspect.
A suspect. Wait, what did she say? I'm sorry to interrupt.
She said it's a good thing that he got back when he did, basically, because otherwise she thinks he would have been considered. But it should be noted that, again, all of their family came back after JonBenet was found dead, except for Donna and Nidra. these pillars who would always help them out.
That's right.
Again, Don was based there, so it's weird for him to stay in Georgia, especially.
He just watched them.
Unless he knows, hey, my son's main goal is to get back to Georgia. What?
Not be there for your granddaughter? Like, seriously?
Because they knew they would be questioned, possibly. They'd be open up for question. And then Don Paul's never publicly spoken about the case. He's a very suspicious man that, again, we're going to dedicate another episode to just this man, because
we must.
We must.
I mean, Bobby, we must. This guy, it's so fucking, this is her granddad, who would live there majority and would also be there, you know, to watch her while her parents are out of town, and was there the night of that Christmas party and left on a flight on Christmas Eve. And I'm supposed to be believed like, oh, we don't know why he did that. And while his wife's going, well, it's a good thing he did that. And meanwhile, all this other shit where it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing this show for like a year. A year. And I mean, we have uncovered so many things. We have been able, I mean, Bobby, it's been an amazing enlightening experience. I am definitely much smarter than I even want me to.
I see it.
I mean, you know, and I'm more worthy of being alive.
No.
We're having like a friends or people at least who see they could use me and like, you know, it might feel good for me.
Oh, Teddy.
But that's the first time I ever felt something like that. That's beautiful, right?
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
That you could use me and I still feel good.
Yes.
So I don't care if I fucking die from it. I want to figure out who JonBenet's killer was.
We're going to do it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Stop.
Thank you. Let me get some pocket ham.
Oh, no.
I just want a little bite.
Well, you know, Merry Christmas, everybody. We're going to be back in 2025. And, our next one is going to be the only intruder theory that makes sense to me.
What?
I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Bobby.
It's the only one that makes sense, and I figured we cap out for New Year, right, where we need to explore our angles, and this one's been bothering me, so we're going to do that one.
Oh my fucking holy shit, Black Jesus Christ. I can't believe there's an intruder theory that you might believe.
I do, but again, it's a mix. The Ramseys aren't entirely innocent, but we'll get to it when we do it, so. All right, well, hey guys, this was a great episode. Donna,
Merry Christmas.
So glad you're back. Merry Christmas,
My
everybody.
nipples are hard. I'm feeling good.
Christmas. Here's your ham.
Damn.
Off the mic.
I'll always
How
keep
are you?
ham
It's-
for you.
I want them to hear it.
It's just gristle. It's all gristle. Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
I'm doing wrong.
And this is
JonBenet today. We're the only show that
Show
talks
your
about little
respect.
girls being killed in terrorist attacks in the OCA.
Yeah, with no actual clear connection.
Yet.